Hello everybody and welcome back to the ASUS North America YouTube channel. This is JJ once again. We're bringing you guys another overview for ASUS Z87 series motherboard. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the Z87-PRO. So this is a motherboard that we have right in our mid-range series. So it's got a great set of features from functionality and outstanding level of performance. So like always, we're going to be covering over some of the features, the function, the design topology, connectivity, as well as what comes included inside the box. And then we're going to go ahead and wrap things up for you guys, give a little bit of perspective at where you're going to be considering the Pro if you're going to be building a brand new Z87 based system. So first and foremost, let's first go ahead and take a look at the accessories that come included with the board. Okay guys, we've gone ahead and cracked open the box. We're going to take a look and see what comes included in here. So we have two sets of Rct 6G cables, so that's 2 in each pack, so a total of 4. We have our Q connectors, so these are quick and easy leads that you can go ahead and connect to the bottom side of the board for USB, as well as for your front chassis leads, so like power, reset, power LED, things like that. We've got an SLI ribbon cable. This is for you guys that are interested in running multi-GPU configurations. We then have our wireless and Bluetooth antenna for our integrated 802.11ac dual band antenna. We've got, of course, the I/O shield. Make sure and install this before you put in the motherboard. Then from here, of course, we have our support DVD. So this contains all the drivers as well as our AI Suite 3 software. Make sure and install the AI Suite 3 to be able to take advantage of all our key functions and features for the board. We've got an exclusive feature setup guide, so this covers a bit more on our 4-way optimization technology, Wi-Fi Go, and a lot of the special features and functions that we have on the motherboard, so make sure to check this out. And lastly, we have our general user guide, so this covers the specifications, the features, and installation aspects, as well as troubleshooting tips for your board. And that wraps up what we have for the Z87 Series Pro, so from here, let's take a look at the board. Alright guys, now that we've covered the accessories, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the actual layout and the connectivity that we have on our motherboard. So let's go ahead and jump to it. So starting here from the top left-hand side of the board, we've got our 8-pin CPU power connection. Then if we keep going ahead and moving right, first up we have 2 CPU fan headers. So those are both 4-pin based fan headers. And like all the fan headers on the board, they are 4-pin based, but they fully support both 3-pin and 4-pin control, or DC and PWM control. And that is fully adjustable inside the UEFI as well as inside of our AI Suite 3 system utility and Fan Expert 2 calibration software. Now the cool thing is actually for this header, it also features a special depression switch which is built inside, which once you go ahead and actually plug your fan in, it will allow it to automatically detect whether it's a 3-pin or 4-pin based fan. So that's another exclusive feature that we have on our ASUS series of Z87 motherboards. From there, of course, we have 4 DIMM banks, and of course the board fully supports DDR3 dual channel memory, and we've validated up to 2800 speeds. Moving next to that, we have a great feature that we call our MemOK. So this is going to be a one-stop shop with a button to press, allowing you to resolve memory compatibility issues. Sometimes if you overclock the board as well too hard, you might lock it up, and instead of clearing the CMOS, you can just depress that button and it will just reset your frequency-based parameters as opposed to clearing all your settings, like let's say your fan controls or SATA operation modes or things along those lines. Now there's also going to be an LED that's right above that. You'll see DRAM LED. And this works in conjunction with what's called our QLED technology. There are 4 of these LEDs sprinkled throughout the board, so one for the DRAM, another one in the CPU section, another one for the graphics section, and one for the boot device. These are LEDs that will light up and let you know if there's an initialization problem when you're setting up your system with one of those corresponding points. It's a bit easier to work with than dealing with the debug code that we'll touch on once we get down to that section of the board. Moving down from there, of course, you're going to see a lot of capacitors, and just like all the capacitors that we have in the VRM section, these caps are rated at 5K operation versus the industry standard of 2K, so a significantly higher threshold in terms of the total lifespan. Another chassis 4-pin connection, 24-pin power connection. We have a front USB 3 that supports our USB 3 boost technology for improving performance for storage devices. Another 4-pin chassis fan header. 8 Rct SATA 6G ports. These 6 right here provided by the PCH directly, and then we have 2 that are provided by the AS Media 1061 SATA 6G controller. Now right below that, we've got some great options in terms of some performance-oriented and power-saving related features. One is our EPU switch, which if you flip into the other direction will automatically allow you to optimize the system in terms of reduced power consumption, lower voltage being supplied to the CPU, but without affecting performance. So this is a great way of being able to maximize the overall lifespan and efficiency of your system, but not compromise on the performance. If you're interested in overclocking or performance, take a look at the TPU switch, flip it into the other direction if you're using better than reference cooling, and you can end up with about a 4.25 gigahertz overclock with the flip of a switch. So that's a great hardware-oriented mechanism, free of any adjustments in the UEFI or in the software. Now from there, you're also going to have, of course, all your front chassis leads, things like your power button, your reset button, hard drive LED, things like that. And right above that, you're going to have a very cool header. This is a Rct header. Now this works in conjunction with a button that we have over here that's called the direct key button. If you want to be able to easily access your UEFI, what you can go ahead and do is, if your system's outside of the chassis, or you quickly have it available to you in terms of you've cracked open your chassis and taken a look, if you press the direct key button, it's a one-stop shop at being able to reboot directly into the UEFI, no delete key, no F1 key. If you have it inside the chassis, you can run your reset lead, instead of running it to the chassis header, to this Rct header, and that button will automatically become the direct key. So you can always, at the touch of a button, reboot straight into your UEFI. Right next to that, we've got another 4-pin chassis fan header, and like all the rest of the headers, same thing, fully controllable in the UEFI or software. We've got a number of USB 2 headers. We then have our USB BIOS flashback button, which works with the USB BIOS flashback port on the motherboard. And this is a great way of directly updating the actual UEFI chip here on the motherboard without any CPU, without any memory, without any graphics card. All you need is the actual power supplied to the motherboard, and we can directly update the UEFI with the touch of a button by just taking your flash drive, plugging it in with the corresponding file, and you're good to go. This is also a great option in the event that maybe you get a surge, spike, or sag that corrupts this chip and the system won't post, saving you from having to RMA or send your board in for service. Now keep in mind that even that would be pretty rare, because these are removable socketed chips, unlike competitors which use cheaper solutions. We don't solder this chip onto the motherboard, so worst case scenario, we could always send you a replacement. Next to that, we have a debug LED. So this is for you overclockers and tweakers out there that sometimes want a hardware-based code to let you know when your board is experiencing issues when generally starting up. We have an onboard power button, and then from there we've got our HD audio connection, which ties into our brand new ALC 1150 HD audio codec, which is an update from the previous generation. This fully supports DTS Ultra 2 PC and DTS Connect, and we'll touch a little bit more on that when we take a look at the back I/O. From there, for you guys that are interested in advanced security management, we have a TPM header. And then moving all the way up right here, right next to our top by one PCIe slot, we have one additional chassis fan header. So that rounds out all the connectivity that we have here on the board. Next up, we're going to take a look at the VRM. Okay, next up, we've got a section that a lot of you guys are always interested in, and that's going to be the actual power delivery, or the VRM as a whole. Now, for this generation, Intel has incorporated a digital controller inside the CPU package, but that does not mean that we still don't have to actually provide power componentry to give power to the CPU and be able to ensure stability, reliability, and performance, as well as enhance overclocking ability. So we continue to use our Digi Plus VRM design, which means we have digital controllers that are interfacing with the memory, as well as being able to externally bring in control from your PSU to the CPU package. Now, along with that, of course, we've got all the high-end components you'd expect, so we still continue to use the 5K rated capacitors. We have high-performance alloy fully molded inductors. The great thing about these is that they're not hollow. They're actually made of a special alloy-based process that allows us to have a higher level of amperage output and ensure better overall performance and thermal efficiency. Now, in addition to that, of course, we have high-performance Mosfets that you can't see, which are actually underneath these VRM heatsinks, and in tandem with the heatsinks, helped us to provide overall high performance, high quality in terms of the thermal dissipation capabilities. And at the end of the day, what this really means is through the management options that we have in the UEFI and the software, you're going to get great reliability, stability, and overclockability. We've had no issues in terms of whether it's 4.6, 4.7, 4.8 gigahertz or greater on this board, so you can feel confident in its overclocking potential. And in addition, this stuff will work to help to aid in our four-way optimization, which we'll touch on in our conclusion. So from there, let's go ahead and take a look at the PCI connectivity, and you can see it's pretty robust. So from the top here, we've got a by one PCIe slot. We have a physical and electrical by 16 slot. These are mapped from the CPU, meaning that this is going to be 16 Gen 3. We then have another by one, and then we have a color change, and this is a physical by 16 slot, but if you're going to be running Crossfire SLI configurations, these would switch in being by 8 and then by 8. Next up, we then have another by 1, and lastly, we have another physical by 16. But as we have a limitation on the Pci Lanes, this is either going to be running at by 1 or by 4. And depending on either your configuration inside the UEFI or the number of controllers that you're actively utilizing at one time, that would assign that speed. Now, lastly, for you guys that are running AMD-based configurations, AMD does allow for a third GPU to be run in by 4 configurations. So keep that in mind. So next up, let's take a look at our back I/O connectivity. Okay guys, and right before we jump into the back I/O, we've got one other point in terms of the VRM section, and that's going to be right here on the back of the motherboard. You can see that we have these actual heat sinks that go directly over the Mosfets, which are the hottest part of the actual motherboard. So this also helps to give us some additional heat dissipation and overall improve the reliability and stability of the board. So with that, let's actually take a look at the I/O. Okay guys, so taking a look here in terms of our I/O, it's pretty rich. From the top, we've got a combo PS2 port, so that's good for a keyboard and mouse for you guys that like the old school connectivity. We've got 4 USB 3 ports. Now these fully support our USB 3 boost technology, which optimizes storage performance, as well as supports our USB Charger Plus technology, which allows you to quick charge devices like Android, Windows, and iOS-based devices, whether you're in sleep, hibernation, or even when you have your system off. We have our brand new improved Wi-Fi Go module built on board. This gives you 802.11n dual band, so 2.4 and 5 gigahertz N connectivity along with Bluetooth 4.0. And we've even updated the actual connectors to full SMA based antennas. This is nice for you guys out there that are Wi-Fi aficionados and want to be able to go ahead and replace and improve by utilizing your own antennas that you can get from third-party retailers and manufacturers. From there, we've got a number of display output connections. So we have 4 options: VGA, DVI, DisplayPort, and HDMI, with DisplayPort, of course, and HDMI supporting higher than 1080p resolutions, even up to 4K, if you guys are lucky enough to get a 4K monitor, and of course supporting 3D technologies. And these can of course be driven directly by the iGPU built onto the CPU. From there, we have a Toslink optical output, which works with that ALC 1150 audio chip that we talked about, and offers DTS Connect capabilities. That means we can hardware re-encode any 2-channel source into either 5.1 or 7.1 and audio. From there, we've got 2 more USB 3 ports that support the same USB 3 boost and USB Charger Plus. And then from there, we have a brand new Intel i-Series network controller, which supports our network iControl technology that allows you to optimize your network-centric services such as downloading, web browsing, gaming, or any number of things through a simple application that we have in AI Suite 3. Plus, you get all the inherent benefits and reduced overhead and through improved performance of the Intel controller. And lastly, rounding out, of course, we have all our analog audio connectivity. So with that wrapped up, let's go ahead and give you guys a little bit of perspective on where the Z87 Pro sits in relation to the rest of our board stack and how to consider it in a build. Okay guys, so we've given you a little bit of perspective on our brand new ASUS Z87 Pro series motherboard. And as you see, this board has a little bit of everything while maintaining really all the design points that you're interested in having in a high quality, high performance board that really ensures you guys a great deal of functionality, reliability, and stability. Now we didn't touch on it completely in our overview here, but the board also does feature our 4-way optimization technology, which is part of our Dual Intelligent Processors 4 design. Now you guys can make sure to check out that video if you're interested in finding out what that actually brings to the table in terms of the functionality. But quickly to recap, essentially allows a full real-time automated overclock process, which is specific to your CPU, your memory, and your cooling solution, as well as our Fan Expert 2 technology, which will automatically calibrate all your fans, plus automatically make power adjustments through our EPU, and even go to the extent of customizing all your power controls for you. And all 4 of these things are done at one time in the simplification of which one simple button push within our AI Suite 3 system utility. And that is offered here on this Pro board. So when you consider that, along with just all the baseline in terms of the connectivity, whether it's Wi-Fi, dual band, Bluetooth, USB charger, the 8 SATA ports, Crossfire and SLI support, plus just tons of connectivity, it's really not compromised in any regard. For you guys that might be looking at a little bit more or maybe have an appreciation for better quality audio, you could be checking out, let's say, our Maximus 6 Hero board or our Maximus 6 Formula board, which both feature advanced audio designs. So as always, if you guys have any questions, comments, feedback, you're interested in dropping them here on the page, please do so in the comments section, or feel free to go ahead and email us here at the inbox. You can also make sure to check us out at our North American Facebook page or our North American Twitter pages. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure and like it, thumbs up, as well as please subscribe. So as always, thank you for watching the video.